NewsCenter 5.
The rain is just about over, but the cold air is moving in behind it. What it will mean for your Thanksgiving travel plans.
Thawing out the credit freeze.
What's being done to make it easier for you to get a credit card, a student loan, or a car loan?
Can Hannah afford to stay in Boston?
Challenged on Oprah to get her financial act together. We check in with this young Boston woman to see if she's following Susie Orman's tough love advice.
Why a woman who rescued this golden retriever from the pound is now getting death threats. Right now on NewsCenter 5 at 5.
You're watching WCVB-TV Channel 5 in high definition. This is NewsCenter 5 at 5. Local, live coverage you can count on.
The rain made for a messy day all around, whether commuting or just running your pre-Thanksgiving errands, and that list can be long. The question right now is, when will the rain let up?
People are already hitting the road early tonight for their holiday travel, and Smart Routes' Jeff Larson has that part of the story. But we begin tonight with Storm Team 5's Dick Albert. All right, Dick, when is it going to end?
Well, Heather, I think the worst of it is just about over. As a matter of fact, we take a look at HD Doppler Live, and south of Boston, the rain's just about over, and the heaviest rain now is moving north of Nashua. I think it's going to be ending in the next hour or two, so that is good news. But boy, did we get a lot of it. Let's check it out. How much rain did we get in the area? Over 2 inches in Braintree, Middleborough, Millis, and Natick, almost 2 inches, and almost just about 1 3/4 in Hingham, and also, that's Hingham. And I'll tell you what, look at these winds. Also, we had tremendously strong winds, especially in the North Shore. Estimated near 70 miles per hour in Marblehead, Salem 62, near 60 in Rockport, Portsmouth, New Hampshire 47, Blue Hill 43, but the winds are down, the rains are down. I'm going to tell you about the big travel day tomorrow when I return. Heather?
It's very busy out on the roads, as we mentioned, and for a look at the biggest trouble spots tonight, and there are plenty, we're joined by Jeff Larson over at Smart Routes. Hi, Jeff.
Well, hi there. Yeah, there are plenty of them, and it's a very slow ride. Currently, we're working with as many as 7 different accidents around the metro Boston area, making for a very slow ride, but it's really the volume of traffic that's causing the problem, along with the rain. Traffic trying to get out of the city, very slow on 93 north and southbound. The same thing on 128 north and southbound. Now, the westbound side of the Mass Turnpike, which normally has huge delays, is busy, but it's not as busy as we've had in previous commutes. It's slow out toward the western area. Now, in terms of where the volume slow spots are, let's just take a look quickly at the Southeast Expressway, and we'll see that very heavy volume getting down. It's a parking lot most of the way down, about a 45-minute drive from Boston down through to Braintree. It's the same story on Route 93 traveling up toward the north. And it is a tough one. It's not going to end early tonight either. I expect this delay and this heavy volume to be with us until at least 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. Back to you now in the studio.
Right, Senator Kennedy is back home on the Cape for Thanksgiving for the big holiday. This is video of him arriving at the family compound this afternoon. Senator Kennedy, who, as you know, is battling brain cancer, is expected to head to Florida to sail during his congressional breaks this winter.
We turn our attention to your money now. An icy summer as American consumers cut back their spending by the most in 28 years. Now, the Bush administration is unveiling 2 new programs aimed at providing $800 billion to thaw frozen credit markets and spur consumer spending. Our Lori Kinney is in Washington tonight to tell you how it'll affect your credit cards, your auto, and your student loans.
This is the government's latest effort to free up credit markets and get the economy moving again, and the latest twist on its massive financial bailout. At the George Washington University, tuition and expenses run around $50,000 a year. At those prices, many students rely on loans, which the credit crisis has made harder to get.
I get letters and concerns from students and parents every week saying, gee, is everything okay? I'm trying to plan out next year. Now the government is trying to help. It plans to make student loans, car loans, and other consumer credit more available by lending up to $200 billion to holders of securities backed by those loans.
The Federal Reserve Facility will enable a broad range of institutions to step up their lending, enabling borrowers to have access to lower-cost consumer finance and small business loans.
Officials will also try to ease the mortgage market, pouring up to $600 billion into buying mortgages and mortgage-backed securities. But there's a risk.
A lot of these lenders are scared.
So much so, skeptics say lenders may sit on the money instead of making loans. Consumers also may be too worried to borrow and spend.
People are nervous and they're saying, you know, this car will drive for a couple more years.
But officials say they're doing their best.
It's once or twice in a 100-year situation.
And nobody has a roadmap. Officials also don't have a good estimate of when consumers might start to see effects of the latest government action, saying only that there is no one thing that will turn the economy around. In Washington, Lori Kinney, NewsCenter 5.
And the Secretary today asked for patience with the government's plan. He said, and I'm quoting here, it's naive to think that in a situation of this magnitude there is any one action to make the crisis go away. But the market itself today, it opened higher, it gave a little bit, and then it did in the end finish in the green, up 36 points to close at 84.79 after 2 days of strong advances. This is the third straight session it's been up. The NASDAQ composite fell 7 points to close at 1464 3/4.
For the second day in a row, President-elect Barack Obama is speaking publicly about the economy, and he is vowing to get rid of programs that have either outlived their usefulness or that exist solely because of the power of politicians.
If we are going to make the investments we need, we also have to be willing to shed the spending that we don't need. In these challenging times, when we're facing both rising deficits and a shrinking economy, budget reform is not an option. It's a necessity.
President-elect Obama also introduced his choice to run the White House Office of Management and Budget. Peter Orszag is the current chief of the Congressional Budget Office. The hidden camera video of AIG execs living it up after accepting billions in government assistance really got people angry, and now the company's bigwigs are paying the price. Its CEO will now only receive a $1 salary for this year and next. The top 7 officers will get no bonuses for 2008 and no salary increases in 2009. And the next highest, the 50 next highest AIG execs will not get raises next year either.
Prices continue to go down. Home sales continue to rise here in Massachusetts. The Warren Group says sales of single-family homes increased almost 14% in October compared to the same month a year ago, but the median single-family home price tumbled about that same percentage. The Warren Group CEO says the number of housing sales would have to increase for several months before the prices will start to rise again. And today's economic news translate into good news about oil and gas. Oil prices fell 5%. Gas prices are down to a nationwide average of $1.85, a level not seen since September of 2004.
All lanes of 93 North and the Tip O'Neill Tunnel have been reopened this afternoon. This after an empty tractor-trailer truck jackknifed inside the northbound side of that tunnel, creating a traffic nightmare. Throughout most of the afternoon, only 2 lanes of traffic were crawling by the accident. Crews had to lay sand down on diesel fuel that spilled out of the truck's gas tank. Fortunately, no one here was hurt. 2 overnight fires in Cambridge and Randolph displacing dozens right before the Thanksgiving holiday. Center 5's Jack Harper is live in Cambridge tonight, where some of those residents lost absolutely everything. Jack?
Certainly, Heather, never a good time for a fire. This is about the worst, especially with this weather. This is one of the houses affected in these 2 nasty fires, Prince Street in Cambridge. The residents of 6 apartments ran for their lives, but did, in many cases, lose most of their belongings.
I looked kind of through the windows, and the entire porch was up. And I said, "Wow, this is fast. This is going. I don't have time." So,
Robert Skriniar's strain lived on the 3rd floor,
and he could see him out on the deck like flames. So we put on pants. We didn't even put on shoes. We just ran out.
Yeah.
Earlier in Randolph, this little girl, her mother, and others just got out of their apartments at the Reed Street complex. These 2 men helped get everyone out.
What did you run in the building? Nah, I was trying to break the glass to try to get the little boy, me and him.
One adult male from the 1st floor apartment was badly burned, is still hospitalized. Combining the fires, about 50 people were driven out.
My father, my sister, my cousin.
In the Cambridge blaze, several generations of the Johnson family lost many of their belongings, but they made it.
You feel blessed, or? Absolutely. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. Thank you, Jesus.
Investigators here in Cambridge say they see nothing unusual, nothing outstanding as far as the cause of this fire, nothing that would let them believe it was suspicious. However, the other fire in Randolph, investigators said this afternoon that was arson. That fire was set. In Cambridge, I'm Jack Harper, NewsCenter 5.
The Boston businessman who cooperated in the FBI's arrests of 2 prominent politicians says more arrests could be on the way. Ron Wilburn tells the Globe that he expects other local officials will get caught up in this corruption probe. Wilburn says he offered bribes to City Councilman Chuck Turner and former State Senator Diane Wilkerson because he wanted to expose corruption in the liquor license system. and was frustrated that he couldn't get a license. Wilburn says he has nothing personal against Turner and had supported Wilkerson.
Jurors hearing the case against the stepfather accused of abusing his daughter have gone home for the day without reaching a verdict. Jason Strickland allegedly beat Haley Poutre into a coma 3 years ago when she was just 11 years old. She now lives in a Boston rehab hospital. Jurors deliberated for an hour yesterday and all day today. Last week, Strickland testified that he never hurt the girl, and he assumed the cuts and bruises before her brain injuries were actually self-inflicted. A very clever thief, what we're told, said that it convinced a New Hampshire store clerk to happily hand over $40,000 worth of cigarettes. Plus,
no manicures, no pedicures, no going out to eat anymore.
A young Boston resident featured on Oprah, struggling to stay afloat, the changes that she's making to try to cut costs. And also ahead,
these school kids are helping to save the endangered Atlantic salmon. This is the first stage of a 2,000-mile journey. I'm David Brown. Going Green Boston is coming up.
And new at 5:30, a corrections officer on the other side of the law, who he's accused of sexually assaulting, and what a judge is ordering him to do now.
A man posing as an executive convinced a store clerk to hand over $40,000 worth of cigarettes. According to police, Robert Baxter told the clerk at a Keene, New Hampshire store that he was an executive from Mobile and that he had to confiscate the smokes. The clerk says that Baxter spoke to customers and even worked the cash register during the robbery. Police tracked him down using the store's surveillance video system. This is a warning, it might get a little loud on parts of the Cape tomorrow morning. Old, unexploded munitions that have been found on the mass military reservation are going to be blown up. The explosives were found in an area once used as the base's firing and mortar range. Base officials say tomorrow's explosions may be audible outside the base's boundaries, but sandbags and barriers will be set up to minimize the noise.
Now, the Storm Team 5 HD forecast.
Very stormy day, especially north of the Boston area. Look at these winds, near 60 miles per hour in Rockport. I just get a report from Ipswich of 63, Salem 62, and Marblehead 67. A lot of wind damage up in the North Shore. Very, very windy day, all the way up through Portsmouth and Portland, Maine, along the coast. But Boston southward wasn't that windy. Blue Hill at 43, Portsmouth, New Hampshire near 50 miles per hour. Also, a lot of rain in the area, and it's just about ending. The rainfall was, generally speaking, around 2.2 inches in Braintree, near 2 inches Middleborough through Natick and Millis. In Hingham, about 1.7 inches. We've had a report from southern New Hampshire. In Atkinson, New Hampshire, of almost 2.5 inches of rain. And in Wareham, over 3 inches of rain. You got it. It was rainy today and very stormy in some locations. But things are winding down at this point, so things are going to get better. But we look at the situation. Here's 5 o'clock this morning, and you see all that heavy rain moving up through the area between 5 and 10. You see the yellows. Those are embedded heavy, heavy downpours. There was even some snow in the initial portion of the storm. And way up in ski country, anywhere from 5 to 10 inches or so in Mount Washington Valley from this particular storm system. So now let's see what's happening. You can see it's just about ending just south of Boston into the Worcester area and be moving northward. So it's ending. The thing is about over, and better times are ahead weather-wise after our drenching today. Look at these temperatures. 52 in Marshfield, 50 in Taunton. It's warm out there. It's starting to cool off in Orange. And believe it or not, late tonight and early tomorrow, if it cools off, well, inland, there could even be some black ice as temperatures fall to near freezing, even though it's pretty warm at this point. So overnight tonight, the rain should have ended for the most part by 7 o'clock. Breaking clouds later on, temperatures slowly falling from the 40s into the 30s. It will be cooling off. And then during the day tomorrow, there'll be a mixture of clouds and sun with temperatures not as warm, near 40 in the Worcester Hills, 45 to 46 Boston southward. More cloudiness in the afternoon, and well west and north there could be a sprinkle or a flurry tomorrow, but that's about it. Doesn't look like much more than that is going to happen. So flakes north and west more clouds than sun, and then it's cool and brighter on Thanksgiving. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at the forecast around the country, not much going on for the travel day on Wednesday. A few rain and snow flurries over the Great Lakes and far northern New England. Most of the rest of the country is fine. And then we get towards California and Arizona. There could be some rain there, but most of the country, pretty good. No important storms, so no real travel problems tomorrow. Here's my 5-day forecast. Rain will be ending, partial clearing. There could be some black ice well north and west, so watch out for that late tonight. 30 to 39 by morning. And then tomorrow, a mixture of sun and clouds. Could be a sprinkle or a flurry to the north and west. Here's your 5-day in the 40s on Wednesday and Thanksgiving. Friday, maybe an afternoon or evening shower. And over the weekend right now, it looks like Saturday will be nice, and it will cloud up on Sunday, and we could have some snow or rain by Sunday night into Monday morning. That's the latest. Heather?
Dick, while most of us are thinking of turkey this week, school children in southern New Hampshire have the Atlantic salmon on their minds. David Brown shows us how local kids are taking part in an aggressive campaign to save these fish, whose numbers are critically low.
That's a big one.
These big adult salmon returned to the river way back in the spring, and they spent the entire summer in these deep pools.
The lesson today, the Atlantic salmon. The classroom for these second graders is the National Fish Hatchery in Nashua. This native New England fish was almost wiped out, but through aggressive release programs, it is hoped the numbers will rebound. The kids' role is to not only learn about the fish and their habitat, but help in the fish growth and the release of them in the spring.
I hope they understand the importance of keeping these species around, their role in the ecosystem, the importance of having clean water.
The odds are stacked against the fish. Each year, nearly 1 million are hatched and released in local rivers, but only hundreds make it home after journeying to the ocean. It's unclear why. Polluted oceans, overfishing, and predators take their toll.
Okay, your turn now, guys.
It's the kids' turn to get a hands-on lesson on the life cycle of the fish. Eggs from the female are extracted and mixed with what is called the male's milt. 5,000 eggs will be fertilized, but only a few hundred will hatch. Once they grow at the hatchery, they'll be released in the spring by the kids.
They're sort of saltwater and freshwater fish.
Wait, they're freshwater and saltwater?
Sort of.
How do they do that?
Well, they change when they turn into adults.
This is just the beginning of a 4-year, 2,000-mile journey that takes the fish from here up to Greenland and back again. This is a lesson for the kids about the fish and the ocean they call home. A hands-on lesson about a fish like that hopefully won't get away. For Going Green Boston, I'm David Brown.
Oprah and Susie Orman, they're helping a local woman climb out of debt, but it is not easy.
I had no idea that even 2 jobs wouldn't be enough.
What she's giving up in order to be able to continue living in Boston. And new at 5:30.
My fingers were all crunched over. I couldn't straighten them, and there was a lot of pain.
And suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, why doctors believe the condition is more common in women, and the treatment that's easing one woman's pain. And new at 6.
These are Hulk Smash Hands, one of many affordable toys made by Hasbro, a company expecting to have a very successful Christmas season despite the economy.
Well, let's face it, living beyond one's means is not really an uncommon thing. But one local woman says she has been given an amazing opportunity to work with one of the best financial coaches in the country.
Her name is Hannah Ross. She's from Charlestown, and she was on Oprah with Susie Orman and given a 3-month assignment to get her act together. NewsCenter 5's Liz Bruner tonight sees how she is doing at the halfway point.
So the question is, with a $300 a month deficit, everybody, can Hannah afford to stay in Boston, or does Hannah have to leave Boston and move home with her mother in Florida?
That was the question financial coach Susie Orman posed to Hannah Ross of Charlestown on The Oprah Show in mid-October when she went over the 25-year-old's expenses with a fine-tooth comb.
I am definitely making positive changes. You know, no manicures, no pedicures, no going out to eat anymore. I'm cooking all of my meals.
And now walking to work. Ormond told Ross the first thing she had to do was sell her car, and she did, saving about $750 a month. She also put this 25-year-old personal assistant on a sort of probation.
You need to make more money. You need to look for a job there. You have 3 months.
I've made these great changes, but it's still not enough.
Ross says the hardest part is not doing all the things she used to do with her friends.
They are still going out. They're still going shopping. They still ask me, do you want to order out? And then the second I say no, and they're like, never mind, we shouldn't have asked you. Susie wouldn't approve.
If you can pull it together, and I know you can, stay. If you can't, Mama, move on over.
She says, move? I mean, I have to do what Susie says. I want to be a success story. I don't want to be just someone who was given an amazing opportunity, who has one of the best financial coaches standing next to her, telling her you can do it, and me not have anything to show for it.
Now, Hannah does have a full-time job and a part-time job. She works about 50 to 60 hours a week, but it's still not enough. And her next big thing she's hoping to tackle is how to lower her student loan payments, and she's hoping that Susie Ormond's going to have some helpful advice in that arena. Heather and Ed?
Well, she's making good, strong choices now. We applaud her for that. A woman is lauded for her years of animal activism.
But the story takes a twist. She's getting death threats now after adopting a dog. What she did that prompted the uproar. That's next. And also ahead.
'Tis the season to shop. Coming up, what you can expect if you're going to brave the crowds on Black Friday.
And the latest round of crash tests, the safest cars for sale, and the American manufacturer that actually came out on top.
Tonight, we're reviewing the latest popular video games, why the industry is getting better grades, and how to best guide your kids to appropriate games.
A California woman says she is getting death threats because she put an aggressive dog to sleep. Jill Morgan, who runs a nonprofit animal rescue organization, decided to euthanize Buddy, a golden retriever that had eaten a chihuahua and was then evaluated as overly aggressive. Morgan's group gave Buddy to an animal behavior specialist with the understanding that he would keep the dog. But when Buddy appeared for sale on Craigslist, Morgan, using a fake name and saying she would give Buddy a good home, bought the dog and had him euthanized.
My goal was just to get the dog away from him and not to get the dog in another unsafe environment. It's all about safety and families, children, and your other pets out there.
Dan Irish, the animal behaviorist, says he was set up by Morgan's organization and he is considering legal action.
I'm really going to pay attention to the prices this year.
This is new at 5:30. Looking for a deal. Retailers and shoppers are getting ready for Black Friday, which is this week.
But in this economy, there are no guarantees on just how low the prices can really go. NewsCenter 5's Kelly Tuthill has our local live coverage. She's in Walpole tonight. Kel?
Well, Heather, we're at Walmart filling up the cart, and more than 128 million Americans say they'll shop this weekend. That's slightly down from last year. Now, many of the stores, as you may have noticed, have already lowered prices to try to get us in here. So there is some question about how good the deals will be on Black Friday.
At Walmart in Walpole, workers will stay late Wednesday night to get the store ready, rest on Thanksgiving, and then prepare for shoppers like Diane Tibbetts to arrive early Friday morning.
Lots of people and lots of deals, yes. I'll plan to stay in line for a while.
But for some people, it's worth it. There are deals to be had, according to the Black Friday circulars that are already available online.
With the economy hurting so much, retailers really have to offer deep discounts to shoppers, and shoppers are really looking for bargains this year, so they're really anticipating the Black Friday sales.
And here are some of the specials. Best Buy will offer a 15-inch Toshiba laptop for $379. That's $270 off retail. Target has a Garmin GPS for $120, $100 off the regular price. And Walmart has a Blu-ray disc player for $128, a $100 discount. But in many cases, you don't have to battle the Black Friday crowds to get a deal. There are many specials online.
A lot of the deals are on sale on Thanksgiving Day around 1 in the morning Eastern time. And all the hot items typically sell out by 6 a.m. Eastern. So it's really important to get online and shop early.
Elmo just wanted to say that Elmo loves you.
From toys to electronics, it's clear people will be shopping carefully.
With the way things are going now and things being so costly, I'm really going to pay attention to the prices this year.
And that's good advice to pay attention before you press the button in and scan the card here. You got to do your homework before you shop. You can go online and check out the prices so you know if you're really getting a bargain. And we've done the work for you. We have all the information on our website, thebostonchannel.com. Click on money and you'll find all those Black Friday ads out already a few days before the big shopping day. Reporting live in Walpole, I'm Kelly Tuthill, News Center 5.
Get a little shopping done there, Cal. A lot of holiday travelers have already hit the roads. And if you're heading out, here's Jeff Larson of Smart Routes with some of the trouble spots. Jeff?
Yeah, it's been a busy afternoon, continues to be, and this rush hour is going to be with us till later this evening. This is not going to be one to end early. A couple of crashes out to Metro West, one on 495 at 290, one at 290 at 495, making for a slow ride in that area for both of those roadways. And then 93, there are two crashes there, one in Wilmington around Concord Street, further on up by River Road in Andover. There's a tie-up there with another crash that's off to the right-hand side. Now, in terms of what it looks like on the roads themselves, this is the turnpike getting out past Boston University. This delay continues all the way out through to the Natick area before it eases away. But look over here. This is Soldiers Field Road. This tie-up goes up all the way through onto Storrow Drive, straight through to Leverett Circle. This is the kind of heavy volume we're dealing with around Metro Boston. And again, this is not going to end early tonight, mostly around 7:30, 8 o'clock before things completely ease away. Back to you down in the studio.
More financial problems for the Mass Pike tonight. The Turnpike Authority may soon have to repay $450 million in loans that were arranged more than a decade ago. The debt is tied to the authority's credit rating. Turnpike's board recently approved toll hikes to deal with the agency's debts.
A 17-year veteran of Suffolk County Sheriff's Department has been arrested for allegedly raping a female prisoner. According to prosecutors, Lieutenant Thomas Healy assaulted the woman inside her Boston prison cell 2 weeks ago. Healy faced several charges in court today, including rape and indecent assault. He's been ordered to surrender his weapon and stay away from the alleged victim. The mother of a teenager who died in the woods after a drinking party has posted a message on a local newspaper's website commenting on the court appearance of several teenagers busted for underage drinking. Her name is Kathy Meyer. She's the mother of Taylor Meyer, who died at a drinking party in Norfolk last month. She was at the arraignment of about 20 of her daughter's friends on Monday, and in her statement, she says, "I am disgusted with their lack of realization of what killed Taylor. I wanted those kids to see the pain on my face. I carry that pain because of the very stupid decisions that Taylor and her friends made that night."
As we reported to you yesterday, the holidays and the tough economic times are putting increased pressure on local food banks. Well, today, 4 philanthropic foundations are stepping up. They've given a combined $1.1 million to food banks, fuel assistance programs, and other nonprofits. The bulk of that money, about $400,000, will go to the Greater Boston Food Bank. That food bank serves more than 190 communities statewide.
Boston police officers are offering a helping hand just before Thanksgiving. As NewsCenter 5's Sheba Russell reports tonight, the officers are making some special deliveries to families truly in need.
Hi, Myra.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Here you go.
A special Thanksgiving delivery to a single mother laid off last month.
I think it's a gift of God because I'm on my way home today. The bus driver told me to stop crying and to thank him. So I'm just like, I just think it's God.
Boston police officer Elvis Garcia first signed up for the yearly tradition 3 years ago. It's a chance to help struggling families and seniors in Roslindale and West Roxbury.
This is really why I became a police officer, an opportunity to give back to the community, an opportunity to give back to a group of people who sometimes feel that we forget about them.
Remembered even in the driving rain.
When you're through making your deliveries.
Dozens of volunteers stopping by the Roach Brothers in West Roxbury to pick up the donated turkeys and boxes filled with fixings.
I just think it's great for the needy family, the community, and especially now with everything in the economy.
The need is so great, they're dropping off 52 turkeys. That's 10 more than last year.
Families are hurting, seniors are hurting, and nobody's really filling the gap for them. And we can't do everything for them, but we can at least do this much.
It's like that old saying, it's a cliche, but sometimes it's better to give than to receive.
A warm gesture greatly appreciated in this economic climate. In West Roxbury, Sheba Russell, NewsCenter 5.
You're watching NewsCenter 5 in high definition, local, live coverage you can count on.
Suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, the pain one woman is enduring, and the treatment that's allowing her to move the way she wants.
And success for the astronauts of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, the key repairs that they were able to make. And also ahead.
I'm Sally Kidd in Washington. A warning for parents this holiday season. A consumer advocacy group says it found these hazardous toys on store shelves. We'll have the story coming up.
And then new at 6, let me ask you, do you have a bad boss? New research says if you do, it could have serious health consequences. As you take a look at the crash video, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, is releasing its new list of the safest cars for 2009. And NewsCenter 5's Liz Bruner tonight has the crash test results and where some of the top automakers landed on that list. Take a look.
This may not look good, but it could be a lot worse. The 2009 GMC Acadia is among a number of vehicles receiving a top safety pick award from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety.
We have 72 winners for 2009, and that's a dramatic increase. Just 3 years ago, for example, we only had 13.
The top safety pick award goes to vehicles that receive the Insurance Institute's highest rating for front, side, and rear impact crashes. Vehicles also have to come equipped with state-of-the-art safety technology designed to help drivers avoid crashes altogether.
Electronic stability control can brake individual wheels and in some cases actually reduce the throttle to help keep the vehicle going in the direction that you want it to go in.
For the 2009 model year, the biggest bragging rights go to Ford and its Volvo division with 16 winners. Honda and its Acura subsidiary won 13 awards. The Insurance Institute says Chrysler is the only major automaker that did not score a top pick, falling just short in rear crash tests. So will you have to pay more for safety?
You can buy a Ford Fusion, for example, with its optional stability control and get the same level of safety that you would in a car costing twice as much.
The lesson there, you don't have to pay luxury prices. For NewsCenter 5, I'm Liz Bruner.
And if you would like to see the complete list, do so at your own leisure 24/7. Check the As Seen On section of our website, thebostonchannel.com.
NASA says yesterday's spacewalk and repair job by the Shuttle Endeavour astronauts, apparently it did the trick. A solar ring attached to the International Space Station is working normally at this hour after being stuck for more than a year. Yesterday's spacewalk was the fourth aimed at getting that wing to work properly. The astronauts also fixed a machine that's designed to convert urine into drinking water. One of yesterday's spacewalkers was astronaut Stephen Bowen, a native of Cohasset. The Endeavour crew is due to return on Sunday.
Now, the Storm Team 5 HD forecast.
Well, late last night into this morning, take a look at Plymouth, New Hampshire. It was snowing to beat the band. And in fact, in far northern New England, it stayed snow for a good chunk of the storm. Plows were out, and a very wintry scene has been established up north. You can still see in parts of Vermont, it is still snowing. Most of the snow in most of Maine has mixed or changed over to rain. But actually, there was some significant accumulations out of this particular storm, again, up north. Even a little bit of snow in parts of the Berkshires before a flip over to rain. But Bretton Woods picked up 7 inches of snow in New Hampshire. That's just for starters. 5 inches, well, as I mentioned, 7 inches for Bretton Woods. Also, want to be able to show you that Jackson picked up 5 inches. And as we head up toward Maine, yes, there was snow up there as well. Sunday River picking up 8 inches of snow. So, air will cool down up in northern New England. There was a lot of snowmaking prior to this, so that means a lot of good skiing is now yours for the taking. All you have to do is travel up north. Now here, we just got a call from Dick Whalen out in Natick. The stars are showing as we're getting rapid clearing from south to north as the rain ends quickly from south to north. One last burst of rain around the eastern Cape, and that will lift up still toward coastal Maine for a while longer, but most of our area is done. But we picked up quite a bit of rain. Look at Wareham, over 3 inches of rain. Mansfield, over 2.5 inches of rain. Atkinson, New Hampshire, over 2 inches. Ipswich, over 2 inches, and the Vineyard, a little under 2 inches. Also, the winds were very, very strong up around the Merrimack Valley, particularly along the coast. The waters of the North Shore northward. Look at these estimated wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour, even Revere almost 60 miles an hour, Blue Hill 43. Yet, if you were well inland, you wouldn't even know a wind event took place. And yes, there was some wind damage with those very, very strong wind gusts in those areas. Temperature is pretty mild. It's 51 in Boston, and it's 40s off to the west. However, take you a little farther to the north and west, and it is a little bit chillier. Look at the readings around the Great Lakes and even as nearby as Syracuse and Montreal. Now, because the skies are clearing, it will allow the temperature to cool, and later on tonight, in some of the areas well north and west of Boston, there could be a little bit of black ice, so please just keep that in mind for late tonight and first thing tomorrow. The good news is, even though tomorrow is such a big travel day, no major storms around the country. There will be some snow flurries and snow showers around the Great Lakes and the mountains of northern New England, but otherwise temperatures will be pretty moderate, generally partly cloudy or partly sunny skies with the absence of major storminess, and that is certainly very good news indeed. So things are looking up as we move on toward the holiday itself. And by the way, obviously huge on Thursday morning, the football games, and it looks pretty nice. Starting out in the 30s around 9 a.m. and then edging up to about 40, about 11 a.m. and into the low 40s by about 1 p.m. Dry with a mixture of sun and clouds, not too windy. Let's check the details now the next 5 days, which will take you through the holiday weekend. Rain ending. That's already occurred in most places. Still far north is raining, and that'll end shortly. Otherwise, partial clearing, bit of black ice far north and west. Boston will be in the upper 30s, but well north and west, closer to freezing. A sun-cloud mix tomorrow. Could be just a sprinkle or a flurry in the Worcester Hills. 40 to 46, southwest to southerly breeze, not too strong. And there's your 5-day forecast. One thing I want you to note, you've got your shopping weather fine on Friday, just maybe an afternoon shower. But the actual weekend days themselves, the one thing to remember is at the tail end of the weekend, late Sunday or Sunday night, coming up from the south to the north, there could be some mixed precipitation, so that's something that we'll certainly let you know more about as we go along. Ed?
And the Patriots play at 4 o'clock, so keep that in mind, Harv. We have a health alert tonight, and it's a good one because for the first time in at least 10 years, cancer rates are down. Not only are Americans less likely to die from cancer, they're also less likely to be diagnosed with the disease. Cancer rates dropped by nearly 1%. That's the biggest drop for men, from a decrease in lung, colorectal, and prostate cancers. Fewer women are getting breast and colorectal cancer. Researchers are crediting a drop in smoking as the single biggest factor.
It is a chronic condition that impacts more than 1 million Americans. New research tonight shows rheumatoid arthritis is becoming more common among women.
I've been dancing since I was 3.
A dancer all her life, Jenna McMahon was devastated when she lost the ability to walk on her own.
During my pregnancy, I actually ended up in a wheelchair for a bit because I couldn't move my hip joints and walk on my own.
After her son was born, Jenna was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
It started with my arm, and I wouldn't be able to move my arm past a certain point, and then it would go to my knee, and it would hit different points in my body.
Rheumatoid arthritis is triggered by the immune system. It mostly affects small joints, causing pain, stiffness, and swelling.
When my son was born, I wasn't able to button his little pajamas. I had trouble walking up the stairs.
New research from the Mayo Clinic suggests rheumatoid arthritis is more common in women than men. It suggests environmental factors or hormones may be to blame for the increase. Jenna wants to learn more about the research.
A year after I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, my mother was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and we live in the same household.
4 years after her diagnosis, Jenna is on medication that allows her to do what she loves.
I couldn't be without dancing. Dancing is what keeps me happy.
Very good. The study by the Mayo Clinic is the first to find a rise in rheumatoid arthritis in women. Some doctors think early diagnosis may be the possibility, at least, for the increase. Millions of kids spend hours playing video games.
And because of that, tonight we have an industry report card, the ratings of the most popular games and how hard it is for younger players to get the most violent ones.
And just ahead new at 6 o'clock this evening, a local town is missing thousands of dollars, and it's pointing the finger at the Russian mob. Plus, it's a buyer's market in Massachusetts.
New statistics on home sales out today show sales up and prices down. Is now a good time to buy? And with just 2 days before Thanksgiving, fire destroys a home in Cambridge. You're going to hear from a woman who barely made it out alive. And in sports tonight,
I'm Mike Dowling in Waltham, where the Celtics are practicing after playing more games than any other team in the NBA so far. They've also been able to acquire more technicals than any team in the NBA so far. We'll talk about that coming up at 6.
It's quite likely this is a familiar scene in your house, but there is good news for a change about the violent video games that kids are watching and playing these days, with names that let gamers pretend to choose which body part to tear off an opponent. You might think that the market is as violent as ever, but a Watchdog Group's 13th annual video game report card says there are rays of light seeping through the violence.
The industry has really responded to calls that we've made over the years. The retailers are now enforcing the ratings better than ever before.
The study also says it's easier for kids to get into an R-rated movie than it is for them to buy a video game rated M for mature. And games promoting fitness are now almost as popular as the violent games.
And a consumer watchdog group is warning tonight of potentially dangerous toys on store shelves this holiday season. As NewsCenter 5's Sally Kidd reports, this is despite the passage of landmark toy safety legislation in August.
Most of the concern centers on toys containing phthalates. Those are chemicals that have been linked to reproductive and developmental abnormalities. The U.S. Public Interest Research Group sent 14 toys to the lab for testing and found high levels of toxic phthalates in 2 of them.
This is the silly squirter fish.
This plastic fish and this toy pony. Under a new law that takes effect in February, the pony's phthalate levels are 95 times the legal limit.
It is banned in the new law, should not be for sale after February 10th, 2009.
But both toys and any others containing phthalates will be sold until current inventories run out, even after the law banning them takes effect. The CPSC says that's because the law does not apply retroactively.
The manufacturers, I don't know if they've learned their lesson yet. The CPSC, instead of giving them a free pass, should be holding their feet to the fire.
Congressional sponsors of the bill say their intent was to ban the sale of phthalate-containing toys when the law takes effect.
If Congress didn't use the language that they intended to use, then Congress has the authority and the ability to change it.
Consumer advocates say the bottom line for parents is this.
There is no way of knowing if the product contains phthalates, so our advice to consumers is to avoid soft plastic products.
The toy industry says that's not necessary.
This science on the safety of phthalates reports that they are safe for use in toys.
Some members of Congress clearly are not pleased with the CPSC's interpretation of the law. They've written letters to the agency and are planning to hold hearings as early as December. In Washington, Sally Kidd, NewsCenter 5.
The law also regulates lead levels, and as of February 10th, companies will not be allowed to sell toys or children's jewelry that exceed the limits on lead content. Any existing inventory that violates the new law cannot be sold.
Is your job putting you at risk for heart problems?
Tonight, the kind of boss that could be putting you at risk. It's right now at 6.
You're watching WCVB-TV Channel 5 in high definition. This is NewsCenter 5 at 6. Local, live coverage you can count on.
Good evening, everyone. Now at 6, the rain is coming down, the traffic is backing up.
And the rush to get to your holiday destination is off to an early and, in many places, a soggy start. Tomorrow is traditionally the big travel day before Thanksgiving, but from the looks of things, a lot of people are taking off early, but not Dick Albert and not Jeff Larson. They're watching the skies and they're watching the streets tonight. Dick, let's start with you, please, sir.
All right, Ed. The rain is just about over. As a matter of fact, the only place it's raining is the eastern half of the Cape right now, and the rain's going to get out of there in about a half an hour to an hour. So the road conditions are going to get better. But boy, did it rain. Let's get back to the other computer, and I'll show you how much it rained. Over 3 inches in Wareham. I just had a report from North Falmouth of 4 inches of rain. Mansfield over 2. Southern New Hampshire and Atkinson over 2. Over 2 in Ipswich and the Vineyard about 2 inches of rain, and boy did it get windy too, especially north of Boston. There was some damaging winds today with wind gusts near 70 miles per hour in Marblehead, over 60 in Salem, and Rockport, Ipswich also above 60, Revere 57, and Blue Hill to the south 43. But things are going to get better, and I'll have that all-important travel day forecast. You know, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, that's big. Ed?
Yeah. I think the traveling's already started, Dick. In fact, Jeff Larson, that's the Pike behind you, and those headlights are leaving town. My goodness, I thought everyone was going to leave tomorrow.
Yeah, no, more and more people are leaving on the Tuesday ahead of Thanksgiving, and this is actually one of the busier days. It may be busier than we have tomorrow. Tomorrow will begin early. Today is a normal, very heavy rush hour. This delay begins back in the Prue Tunnel. It actually eases after you get through the Natick area, and that's actually good news because a lot of times we have big tie-ups getting out toward Route 84 in the Sturbridge area. One of the bigger tie-ups we have, though, this afternoon is for travelers on Route 93 coming into the city. 93 southbound over the Zachem Bridge. This backs into Medford. It's 45 minutes just to get down into the O'Neill Tunnel, and then the expressway is a very slow ride as well. Now, this rush hour will not begin, will be ending early tonight. A lot of times we see this holiday rush hour ending early. It will be going on until about 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. So if you're traveling tonight, plan ahead. It's going to be a slow ride. Back to you now in the studio.
All right, Jeff, let's take it to Littleton now, where police are looking into the weather, as it may be to blame for this deadly crash in Littleton this afternoon. It happened at the intersection of Air Road and Spectacle Pond Road. A tanker truck hit a car which slid into the guardrail. An SUV then swerved to avoid the accident and rolled over. Police say that someone in the car was killed.
Now to your money and the ups and downs of the housing market here in Massachusetts. Prices are down and sales are up as buyers go bargain hunting. NewsCenter 5's Jim Boyd has our local live coverage from Watertown tonight. Jim?
Liz, real estate analysts say that condos like these behind me a year ago would have been on the market for about $500,000. But now they appear to be following the trend. Prices down and sales up. It's a two-bedroom townhouse condominium, asking price just under $420,000. Realtor Mel Martokia says, considering the latest statistics, he's hoping it will sell soon.
We see some potential positive signs.
Those potential positive signs come with the numbers released by the Warren Group. Home sales in October were up 13.7% compared to a year ago, while in the same period, home prices were down 13.9%. Median home price statewide, $285,000.
Prices have adjusted.
But Martokia says if all things fall in place and that home of your dreams comes along, now is a good time to buy.
When a particular house or condo or multifamily comes about that meets your requirements, there's no and financially you're able to do it, there's no reason why you need to hesitate.
And Martokia has this reminder as we maneuver through this economic downturn.
Long term, over time, housing has been probably one of the best type of investments that somebody can make in their lifetime.
Now, will the recent